There's no way this is possible, right? What a dooski, guys, it's Fail34, and I just saw M. Night Shyamalan's latest film, Split. If you're interested in my review for Split, it'll actually be up a little bit later on in the day. However, the purpose of this video isn't to critique and talk about how it was, but more or less to propose a question. Is Split a sequel to Unbreakable? So before we start this video, guys, I do not want to spoil or ruin this movie for anybody, so if you have not seen Split, I highly recommend, please don't ruin it for yourself, guys, for any details of the actual movie itself or any of that. So please, if you have not seen Split, do not watch this video. Now, if you're only here if you have seen Split and you're interested in hearing what I gotta say, or maybe you don't give a fuck about spoils and you're a savage. Alright, so Split. So from its surface level, even in its marketing, Split appears just to be your average thriller / horror movie. Recently, M. Night's been doing these types of movies with Blumhouse with a fairly low budget, but anyway, that's besides the point. Moving on to the story, Kevin, played by James McAvoy, has dissociative identity disorder and has evidence of 23 personalities to his trusted psychiatrist, Dr. Fletcher. There remains one still submerged who is set to materialize and dominate all of the others. So while initially the film just poses as what I mentioned earlier, this kind of just thriller horror movie, it then opens up to the idea of people possibly having powers or abilities similar to those of Kevin, them going beyond being human. So we see this in Split when Kevin's psychiatrist, Dr. Fletcher, does a guest lecture in this university hall as she's speaking to them via Skype to this giant audience in an auditorium. Dr. Fletcher proposes this idea of special abilities to the audience in the auditorium, but likewise to the actual audience in the theater. This is one of the first instances where the movie suddenly begins to be hinting towards it being in the same universe as Unbreakable. Looking at it from a different perspective, thematically, both these films are kind of similar. For example, in the filmmaking for Split, there's techniques that are literally ripped just from Unbreakable, like the panic from character to character in mid-conversation in one take. For example, near the end of Split, when Kevin is having a conversation with his personalities to each other in the mirror, it's just like David did in the beginning of Unbreakable when he's on the train and takes off his wedding ring to talk to the lady next to him. In addition, the tone and feel of the worlds reek in familiarity. And again, this leans on it having similar themes in the storytelling. Another thing at the core in one way is Unbreakable has to do with childhood experiences and that fueling the villain to do awful acts. This is present in Split as well, with what happens to most of the girls and the psychiatrist in the end. Like I mentioned, there is reference to abilities that are hidden and being unlocked through pain and suffering, and that's literally something that's explored in Unbreakable. David is a superhero with superpowers, and the idea of others in the same world that may exist with other abilities is completely plausible. And it's equally plausible that some of these powers could be brought up with someone who has D.I.D, i.e. Kevin. This opens up the possibility for a much larger world to be displayed where these comic book heroes are based off of actual people with actual abilities, and in which David can be there to protect society from people who use their powers for evil rather than good, and we actually have a superhero universe that is set in reality. In Unbreakable, something that's really prevalent is the idea of trauma, and this is what makes David's potential surface. Likewise, as we see in Split, it's this trauma that Kevin experiences with his mother as a kid that unlocks his potential also. Not to mention, one of the catalysts to Unbreakable, the film, what actually starts it off, is this giant train wreck and where he is the only person to survive. The train is very important to that idea. In Split, when he turns into this beast, his 24th personality, this happens in a train also, kind of reflecting on that. Alright, so this is when it becomes very blatant that this may actually be set in the same world as Unbreakable. In the third act of the movie, the beast, Kevin's 24th personality that comes towards the climax, it actually comes to fruition and has literal abilities. Just like the Unbreakable universe where David has, some sort of super strength and unbreakable skin, etc. Kevin literally has super speed. He literally has super strength. This dude can climb on fucking walls. He didn't even dig his nails or anything. Like, what the f— He can even survive shotgun blasts. This guy literally has unbreakable skin. What the f— Has M. Night maybe wanted to do an Unbreakable 2? Well, let's go check at this IGN interview he did roughly 2 years ago at San Diego Comic-Con, which I might add.
As you could guess, I don't want to do a traditional movie, like a traditional second movie. That turns me off. So it has to be something, a completely original take if we were going to do something like unexpected. I'm very much about, what's not said and keeping it incomplete. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah. Minimalist.
These all sound just like what Split is. I mean, a non-traditional sequel, something completely original, and also incomplete. In a sense, the ending of the movie with Kevin, it's a little more ambiguous and left incomplete just as he gets away. And the same goes with Casey and with things regarding her uncle, it's just left in the same fashion. If you think about it, if there's a superhero, there's also the supervillain, and that's explored in Unbreakable with Samuel L. Jackson's character and obviously Bruce Willis. There's that dynamic. Well, if this is in fact a sequel, it's left incomplete, which M. Night Shyamalan kind of wanted for another sequel to make it a trilogy, to end it completely. We haven't really had the superhero per se in this Split story. We had the kind of villain that's portrayed, or we're supposed to believe is the villain. The lead actress, is she supposed to be the hero? I think that's left ambiguous because that's something for a sequel to be explored, possibly with Bruce Willis' character as well. Alright, so with all the things just said previously, you could possibly argue that maybe it's not actually. Ladies and gentlemen, undoubtedly by the end of this movie, it is 100% confirmed. Split is not only set in the same universe as Unbreakable, but it is actually a direct sequel. Good twist, Shama! So to go over it quickly, in the end of Split, after Kevin or the Beast is gone, we go to a diner covering the events of what just transpired. It then cuts to a lady saying something along the lines of, "Oh, that reminds me of that guy in a wheelchair. What was his name again?" I kid you not, it then cuts to Bruce Willis saying, "Mr. Glass." And then on top of that, it literally plays the same music from the original Unbreakable. I was losing my shit. I was whew. So in short, the answer is yes. It is a sequel, and an unconventional one at that. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. It's my first time kind of doing anything like this. I just saw the movie and I'm like, holy shit, I need to talk about this. If you guys enjoyed this kind of video and you want to see more topics or anything like this, let me know in the comment section down below and I can try my best. As always guys, don't forget, if you enjoyed it, to leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. Also guys, if you have social media, because I know you probably do, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, links to all that in the description down below, as well with my P.O. box. My review will be up tomorrow morning. Share this, guys, share this video, because I think a lot of people want to watch this movie. And I think it might blow some minds, because a lot of people in my theater were fucking confused, and I was like, the only person like... I can't clap too loud, my dad's sleeping. Anyway guys, thanks so much, I'll see you next time. Peace.